Oh, there you are, YouTube. It is the second day of Oscar week, and we are continuing the series where I rank the physical media cover art for Best Picture winners. We did the 1920s and 1930s, and now we are doing the 1940s. Let's get to looking at some cover art. Before we analyze the movie covers, I think we should go through the movies and show you which ones won in chronological order. Our first Best Picture winner of the 1940s was Rebecca. Rebecca won in 1940. Then, in 41, How Green Was My Valley. 42, Mrs. Miniver. 43, Casablanca. 1944, Going My Way. 1945, The Lost Weekend. 1946, The Best Years of Our Lives. 1947, Gentleman's Agreement. 1948, Hamlet. And 1949, All the King's Men. Now let's analyze each one. Okay, starting with Rebecca. This is an Alfred Hitchcock film, and I think just looking at it, you can see the ghostly images that are happening here, which is very appropriate for this film. Kind of the spooky painting in the back. I think that is nice, which is in color. Over here, black and white, like the film is. We have the title here sort of angling down along with Hitchcock's name there. The home, which is very much a character in the film. I feel like that's a cliche thing to say, but it does, sort of function like that. Criterion Collection right here, that just kind of comes with the territory when it comes to Criterion. You're just going to have that up there. But overall, I do like this. It does kind of look like maybe a photo montage a little bit, but it's not too bad. I like this ghostly image right here. I don't even know if you can see that. But I don't know. In the end, I like it, but I think for my taste, I wish it was illustrated. I think for me, that's what I am looking for, especially with Criterion Collection. I'm looking for something extremely unique, and I think this is unique, but something with a little more artistry in it, done in a way that shows the hand of the artist. I think would have been nice, but this is still good. Okay, How Green Was My Valley. Not too big of a fan of this one. I'm never really too big of a fan that just of DVD covers that just have two figures with, washed out backgrounds. Everything is just very, framed a little too easily, especially, the font there, just central, not very interesting. This is about a, Welsh mining town, which I guess you kind of get here with the background, but I wish the focus was on that a little bit more, and the struggles that are happening. I guess maybe you can see that in their expressions, maybe, but I think more focus on the environment of the film, because it is, I believe, very important and interesting, and just the sets are amazing. The valley is amazing, so I like the artistry of the valley, so I think that and the architecture should be more the focus here than just the two actors, right? In some ways similar to How Green Was My Valley, but this one is very different, and I do love this one. One, it's illustrated. You can see the painterly quality happening right here. It is just two characters in the center, but they are responding to their environment, which I think is fantastic. You have these planes here, and they are looking up. They are afraid of being hit by bombs, and it shows a great moment in the film. Doesn't give too much away or anything. I wouldn't say so. I guess it tells you, something that's going to happen, but not specific details or anything like that. So I do love this one. I think the font's nice up here. Even though, it's flat and we have more depth happening over here, I still think that's fine. But yeah, what I like is sort of the painterly quality that happens here on the edges of the illustration, where it just sort of washes out into the white. That is what I am a big fan of here, and the fact that they are responding to their environment, which we were not getting with the previous film. For Casablanca, I don't think this is bad. I like that we get our, sort of primary characters right here in color, and then to showcase the fact that this film is in black and white, these secondary characters are shown in black and white. I like the curvature of the font sort of framing and following the curvature of the top of the heads there. I think that's nice. We're getting it sort of repeated at the top, and we're getting that line repeated here, and then here, and in the shoulder. And then right here, I like that repeated arch that we're getting. We're even getting it right here, the shadow coming from the brim of the hat, dividing the face here, sort of creating an instance of under lighting or side lighting. The gun here, showing it's, I don't know, I guess signaling action. It's not an action film, but I think, that sort of signifies, hey, this is going to be, not a bland story for you. Although for me personally, it did take me quite a few watches to actually start enjoying this movie, really understanding it. Took some conversations with my father-in-law for me to, I guess, get the movie, but that's not what we're judging here. We are judging the cover art. And yeah, I think this one's fine. What I'm the biggest fan of is just that curve, that repetition of the curve that we are seeing all throughout, sort of radiating from this corner in a way. That's what I'm a fan of. Going My Way is informative here with the musical notes letting us know that Bing Crosby here, his name, that's him right there, will be singing in this film. If it's a Bing Crosby film, you should know that right away. You don't necessarily need this, but I do like that this is here. He's, sort of done in photograph, but then color added. This is a black and white film, though. I guess I like the curvature of the font here. I don't know. This one, it's fine. I guess the biggest thing for me, I'm a fan of this edition. This is nice right here. Very flat gradient happening here with, in contrast to everything that we're seeing in the face. So I don't know. I think I like that contrast. Doesn't bother me at all. Got that sharp line happening right here, going, sort of cutting through the mouth out the back of the neck right there. Kind of interesting, dividing the sort of gold yellow gradient here and then the gray. But yeah, I'm a fan of this one. The Lost Weekend, I think, looks a little too jumbled. If this was illustrated, it may not bother me, but done in photograph like this, I'm not that big of a fan. Sort of the glow that we have right here, not very into. She's leaning on nothing. It almost looks like his shoulder, but it's, nothing, just kind of floating. You see the distress in his face right here, but, and I guess that, that's informative of the film. But I don't know, it just looks kind of jumbled to me. I'm not too big of a fan of this one. I don't know, and this haze, this glow, I don't know, I'm wondering if it should cut through. See how it cuts through right here? I'm wondering if it should have just been around his head, up the neck, around this head, right here, and over. I don't know, maybe it makes sense to do it here too, but anyway, this one just kind of jumbled, not very into it. Everything just seems sort of messy to me. Oh, this one's such a shame. This is one of the best picture winners, not just of the 40s, but of Oscar history, and we are given this terrible, absolutely terrible cover art. There is so much more to the movie than the two of them in this nondescript location. I just don't like that. I don't like when there are two characters in a blank background. I mean, it's not a blank background, but just a meaningless background. I am not a fan of that at all. The font up here, I don't know, it's all of this is very boring for such a magnificent Best Picture winner. So again, this one's a shame. It doesn't tell you anything. I mean, I think they're trying to sell you best years of our lives, and then it's like the two of them, married, look, home from war, and looks like, things are great, right? That is not that is an oversimplification of what this movie is. It is so much more. So, one, it doesn't represent the movie well, and two, it's just a very boring piece of cover art. Can't say I'm the biggest fan of this one either. I don't know, two figures up front, close to embracing, basically. I mean, they're not, but they're very close to one another, and then New York in the background. I do like this font. I like its placement, in conjunction with, you know, how it's very separate than the names up here and the figures down here. Like, I think if they were raised up and a little closer, I wouldn't like it as much. I do like that it is given a lot of room to breathe. So it does get points for that, having room to breathe, the title here. So it's okay. I mean, it's fine. It's not my favorite. It's, you know, it's okay. Hamlet. This is just, you know, a portion of a still used as cover art, which, you know, I guess is, you know, somewhat common. This might be a promotional image now that I think of it. I'm not entirely sure, but what I am looking for is illustration. I think that would have enhanced this. What we do get is the striking contrast between lights and shadows, which is, I think, very important to this film. That's one of my favorite things about the film, is the art direction and the sets and everything like that, the high contrast that we're getting. And it does display that, so that is very positive, I guess you could say, because it does showcase what this film has to offer, the stark contrast of darks and lights. And I like that, I guess. So yeah, I just wish maybe this was illustrated, especially when it comes to Criterion Collection. I'm expecting more from them. I think they, in a lot of ways, need to spend more time on the covers. I think they try to in a lot of ways, but other times I am surprised by how much they are not. And I think this would be a case where I don't think they are as much. But I don't know, it's still a nice image. The skull is always going to capture attention. And then again, right here, contrast, you know, living head, dead head, dark, light. It's just, you know, following the gaze of Lawrence right there to the skull. I mean, I don't know, maybe I'm convincing myself right now that it is pretty good. I do like it. It's just, you know, a promotional still film sort of thing that seems not very interesting, but in some ways it does. I don't know where I'm at on this. I think this one is pretty messy. We get our main character right here and some scenes framing him. American flag in the background, the font here. I don't know, it looks kind of kitschy to me, so I guess that's my problem here. And then look at this, I don't know, this is kind of funny. A clapboard. I don't know, it looks messy, like a bad photo montage, so I don't know. We have, you know, again, a portion where we're given our character in color and then scenes from the film in black and white to showcase that this is a black and white film. But yeah, I don't know. You know, his attitude, the character's attitude is definitely well presented here, so that's good. It does sort of give you an idea of who you're dealing with when you watch this movie, but it's all right. I don't know. Let's get to ranking.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
Okay, this is my ranking of the cover art for the 1940s Best Picture winners. Mrs. Miniver, Rebecca, Going My Way, Hamlet, Casablanca, Gentleman's Agreement, How Green Was My Valley, All the King's Men, and The Lost Weekend. Let's get into why. So in my previous video, I went from best to worst. This time I'm going to go least favorite to most favorite. You know, worst to best. Best Years of Our Lives. I don't like this. What separates it, though, from this one and that one is, I think, the color background. The other ones don't have a color background, and I think that is what really ruins it. Also, the fact that it's one of the greatest Best Picture winners, yet they did a terrible job acknowledging that through the art. The Lost Weekend and All the King's Men, basically the same thing. They are just both extremely messy. So why did this one do a little bit better? I think, I don't know, we're getting scenes, maybe. The contrast between color and black and white versus over here, everything is just an extreme mess. What is she leaning on? What is she leaning on? How green was my valley in Gentleman's Agreement? The reason, I mean, they're next to each other because they are very similar. The reason this one, wait a second. Oh yeah. The reason this one's a little better, or, you know, ahead, because I do like that the title sort of is separated. It's on its own. It's given room to breathe. Here, I do like the contrast of his height and her shortness, and the fact that, you know, she's so far away from the text and he sort of cuts into it. It's overlapping him. So that's kind of nice. But yeah, I think the sparseness around the title there is what puts this one ahead for me. Casablanca, it's the curves. I just like that repetition of the curve happening. And then the gun, you know, just sort of makes it seem like, oh, this is an exciting film. But yeah, it's the curve that won. This one I thought was going to be lower, but as I was talking about it earlier, I convinced myself that I do like this one. And I love the contrast and how that is showcased in this image and how important that is to the actual film. This one here is number 3, mostly because of the music there. I don't know, it tells you what the movie, what's going to be in the movie without telling you too much about the movie, basically. So that's nice. Here, yeah, it's the ghostly image. You know, I think that lends itself to telling you the type of movie this is. Also does Alfred Hitchcock's name, but spooky painting and ghostly imagery, especially down there, spooky mansion house. It just tells you everything you need to know going in. And then here, these two figures responding to their environment. That's why it wins. It's responding to the environment. And the painterly quality that we're having out here that just washes into the white. And that's why Miss Miniver wins. Mrs. Miniver, that is. Best Picture. Thank you so much for watching this Best Picture cover art ranking, and perhaps I'll see you tomorrow for more Pure Hangout. Unrelated to today's content, I just wanted to point out and document that it is snowing. It is April 20th, 2021, 4/20/2021, and it is snowing. This is not normal for my area. This is very unique. The trees say spring is here, but the weather says winter. The lawn is covered, except for the part under the tree. I don't know, I just can't believe it. Not typical. I'm getting ready to pick up a sandwich, and this is my view in the car. Had to get one more shot of the snow. I know this may not be exciting or unique in your area perhaps, but it is in mine. This is so strange and odd. It just doesn't usually happen this time of year. Okay, we brought the kids out for what will most likely be the last snowfall before summer, just to get some enjoyment out of it. You like the snow? Kind of weird, isn't it? I made a giant snowball, put it in the tree, and it's leaking. Just leaking. But this is how we will, I don't know, watch the snow progress as it melts, I guess. I like that leaking. That's funny. That's funny to me. Best Picture.